Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, Firmly Rooted family. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries, and here at the house. What a weird weather night we had last night. I was telling the men, Kimberly and I went to Lake Orion to have some dinner and came back, and it was just like we had that quick snowfall, and then the temperatures went from above freezing to below freezing. The streets were a sheet of ice. The little hill coming up on Seymour Lake Road, police weren't letting anybody up there because they were sliding all over the place. So we had to go into Waterstone and go all the way around to get home. It was just so weird. But be safe out there. Sun is shining, so that's good so far. And we're live, and it looks like we have successfully got video and audio, so we're doing pretty good. We're going to look at the Messianic Prophecy devotion for September 12th, and a reminder that if you are at all being blessed by the devotional book, please go back to Amazon and do a review. And so that just kind of helps. It kind of helps it stay up there when someone says, hey, I'm looking for an Advent devotional book. Boom. mine would maybe rise up a little bit and get some attention. So, all right, let's see who's on board, and then we'll hit the devotion. My sister Trish, good morning. I'm out there. Let's see, Brian Flaming. Good morning, Saints. Chuck B. Good morning, family. I'm out there on X as well. Karen Thompson's out on X. Dr. Colleen is out there on X. Bert Reggiani on YouTube. Good morning, everyone. Alice, hope you're feeling all right, feeling better. I love you. Good morning. All right. There's more out there, but we'll leave it at that for now. Let me pull up the devotion and let's hit it. From Psalm 72, the kings of Tarshish and of distant shores will bring tribute to him. The king of Sheba and Seba will present him gifts. All kings will bow down to him, and all nations will serve him. All nations. One of my favorite events in the Bible is how the wise men traveled for miles to visit the newly born king of the Jews. If they saw the divinely placed star on the day Jesus was born, it took them around 2 years to travel to Jerusalem. I just wanted to stop there. Assuming that star appeared when Jesus was born, and these wise men, astrologers, people who studied the skies and studied all these things, saw the anomaly and knew that something significant must have happened. I want you to see that they gave up years of their lives to go there and come back. The effort, the sacrifice of, I'm sure, time, talents, and treasures to go check out a star. And who might have been born? What happened? What supernatural thing took place? Boy, oh boy, do we gotta to remember who's in that manger, right? Who is being born on that day? They sometimes I think these wise men have a greater understanding, right, than we do when it's right in front of our faces. I don't know. It is insane to think about, and this is being written in the Psalms, right? We know that because they didn't visit Jesus at the manger, but they visited him at a house. I'm amazed that they traveled so long to pay homage to a king that no one in Israel even knew was born. I wonder whether their pursuit was purely because of the astrological event, or maybe because remnants of the Messianic prophecies made it all the way to the far east where they lived. Regardless, they came. Step back for a moment and look at all this event tells us about God's providence. What does this event tell us about God's providence? God, once again, worked in time and space to bring wise men from the far east to honor and worship Jesus. He did so to fulfill a messianic prophecy that he caused the psalmist to write more than 1,000 years earlier. Do we have an amazing God or what? This prophecy also tells us that Jesus would be no ordinary king. It tells us that all the kings of the earth would honor and serve him. Paul says in Philippians chapter 2:10 that at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth. In Revelation, he is called the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Finally, and more practically, my question for myself and you today is, are we willing to travel the distance to see all that Jesus came to fulfill? Highlight that question. Are we willing to travel the distance? That means assume the cost, sacrifice the time and the talents and the treasures. Are we willing to travel the distance to see all that Jesus came to fulfill? It was worth it for the wise men. I pray that it is for us as well. Peace. Pastor Tom. Let me pull myself back out of here. Everybody, I just hope that this devotion was a blessing to you. I'm being overwhelmed a bit by realizing that whether it's the Old Testament or the New Testament, when one gets into a serious relationship with God, they're asked to let go of things in the kingdom of this world. They're asked to start living like they're sons and daughters of a new kingdom. Abraham leaves a land. Jacob takes his children into Egypt, and God takes them out of there. Jesus' disciples leave fishing boats and tax collectors' booths. We're always having to let go of something. I think too many Christians are trying to add Jesus into their already everything, when we should be letting go of things in the kingdom of this world so Jesus can take more space. Are we willing to expend the time and the energy like these wise men did? Something good to ponder today, maybe. All right. Did anybody else come on board here at the end? Abby, great to have you. Vivian Davis, good morning. Nikki, good morning. Looking forward to having you back home next week, I think. All right. That's what I have for you. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.